Now, I wanted to show you the difference in a definition so you can understand. This is one of the tracks out there you may want to pick up. It's called the significance of identity. Okay? How to identify people and things. What is in a definition? The definition of anything is a description of its description. Webster's dictionary says, to define is to state the meaning of. Therefore, the definition of something is a combination of words that describes its meaning. A false definition is a combination of words that describes something else. An example of this is my description of a dog. A warm-blooded, four-legged animal used as a pet in many homes. This animal has pads on the bottom of its feet and a soft, hairy body that people like to pet. This dog speaks in repeated meows and makes messes in my backyard. As you can see, only one description of my dog qualifies the description as a false dog. Only one, just the one. All the other things are the same. Pads on its feet, okay, with tires. It's got a hood, okay, long tail that wags, soft furry body, okay, with windshield. So we have the same things, but sometimes we have to look deep enough to find out what the meaning of the things are. We have them meow. Not a dog, okay? So it only takes one false thing to disqualify. If I only talk about the similar things, we all are in agreement. It qualifies. If there are some dissimilar things, and we don't talk about them, as the missionary lessons when the missionaries come to your door, you don't get the dissimilar things, you get most of the similar things. You know, you ask a missionary straight up, do you believe in God the Father, Jesus Christ, the Holy Ghost, what are you going to get? Yeah. You talk about similar things with similar labels, it must be the same. Why do I need to be baptized in the Mormon church if it has tires and rims and windshields and it's all the same? I'm already baptized, it must be the same, right? But Joseph said it's not the same. He said there's a total apostasy, they're all wrong, I have no authority, I was baptized by the wrong authority. So when we look at these different things Jerry said, I mean, I've never seen this thorough of an examination before. It's quite good. He said, you know, we have elders, we have Aaron, we have congregation, we have Melchizedek priesthood, we have the Urim and Thummim, and he's quoting all these things in the Bible. See, we have the tire, we have the windshield, we have the hood. We have all the things that's necessary to make this car. Looks like a Model T, must be a Model T. The problem, as he goes on a little bit, he gives me a little information, a little stuff against him. He has this thing called first presidency. We didn't see that in the Bible when he was going through that. How about Ward? Don't find that either. We have stakes, you know. I suppose they use nails, but I don't remember stakes. So, okay, anyway, that's point number 2 is just because you have these labels doesn't mean it's the same thing, okay? If we want to talk temples, he didn't use the word temple. Temples, okay? Where's the place for letting the blood of the lambs, the goats, and the sheep and all that? The birds? Where do they do that in the temples? Are they missing the tire, or are they missing all the tires? So that's a dissimilar thing. He mentioned the binding and loosening. That's an interesting thing. I believe the binding and loosing in my theology tells me that when I help someone come to Christ, or don't help someone come to Christ, you know, when you come to Christ, you're free. You know, you're loose. You're not under the wages of sin is death. You're no longer under the condemnation of the law when you have grace. And so the binding and loosing to me is the gospel. When someone gets told the gospel and they get the true gospel and they hear the gospel and it makes sense to them and they accept the gospel and they accept the real Jesus Christ, which is another debate too about the identification of Jesus Christ in the Mormon church. When they accept that, that is the binding and loosing. And it makes a lot of sense when you look at it in context with the rest of the gospel. The rest of the Bible. And the quote he used was the first apostles, then prophets, and evangelists, teachers, and all that. That particular quote, that's the order. And the order in the Mormon church is not exactly that way. We have first apostles. No, we have first prophets. Prophets are first. We have the one prophet of the Mormon church, and then we have apostles underneath him. So the order is just a little bit different than what the Mormons would want us to know, or want us to accept. He also used a quote about the 12 apostles. Well, there's a brochure out there on the table that talks about the Mormon church and their 12 apostles. Depends on how you count them. Now, if you count the 3 Nephites and John the Beloved, that's 4. If you count the apostles that are in the first presidency of the church, that's 3 more. That's the prophet, his first and second counselors. And then you have 12 more. That usually doesn't add up to 12. I was a math major. That just didn't make sense to me. How can you have 12 apostles and be the true church with the restoration of the true church? See, we have 12 apostles, 12 living apostles. That's why your church is wrong. It's like, I can count. It doesn't add up to 12. Now, the Book of Mormon says there was 12 in this continent and 12 in the old continent. That's 24. You know, when you add all those up, you don't get 24. So they don't have 12, which would agree with the Bible, and they don't have 24, which would agree with the Book of Mormon. So 2 wrongs are still wrong. Okay? Then he said sheep of this fold. And we have sheep of another fold, not of this fold. Okay, now this fold, Jesus was a Jew. He was speaking to the Jews. That's this fold. The sheep of this fold, I have other sheep that are not of this fold. That would be the Gentiles. Yes, unless you happen to be a Jew. So that's a pretty easy understanding there. It doesn't have to be the American continent. Why just the American continent? What happened to, Australia? I mean, why weren't the Australians deemed worthy enough to have a Jesus show up at their place and give them a different gospel? Or maybe Hawaii? Okay. Ezekiel 37, 2 sticks. I got to get another stick here. Okay, one of them he tells him to write Judah, and the other one he writes Joseph. Okay, and the prophet is supposed to put the sticks together, and then they become one in his hand. So with me, it's not a miracle, so they're going to fall, right? One, okay? But then he holds them up, and they're one in front of the Jewish nation, and they ask him, what does this mean? If you go on down in the text, you find out it means that the 2 kingdoms will be joined together in one kingdom. The northern and southern kingdoms will be joined together. So the LDS Church talks about the 2 sticks being joined together, and these sticks, which are hard, they didn't have pulp mills back then. They didn't really do much on sticks. They didn't write books on sticks, okay? But these 2 sticks put together were supposed to be the Book of Mormon and the Bible coming together, having the fullness of the everlasting gospel, which means the whole inspiration that God is giving to our modern day world. When the 2 sticks come together, that's all the inspiration you need. And well, if it has the fullness of the gospel, is the Mormon temple part of the gospel? If it is, we should have that gospel that you learn in the Mormon temple in the Book of Mormon and the Bible. In the front of the Book of Mormon, in the introduction page, it states that the Book of Mormon contains, as does the Bible, the fullness of the everlasting gospel. Most Mormons don't even believe that, but yet it's in the very introduction page of the 7th version of the Book of Mormon. So if you look on the introduction page, you'll find they're supposed to both contain the fullness independently. So that goes against Ezekiel 37 with the 2 sticks being put together, according to what the LDS Church has put in their modern version. So we have the 2 sticks. I have a problem with 2 sticks when you have 5 different authorities. The Book of Mormon, the Bible, the Doctrine and Covenants, the Pearl of Great Price, and the words of the modern day prophet. You need 5 sticks. See, again, I'm a math person, It's 2 plus 2 thing, I just can't get the numbers don't add up. And see, I have a problem with that. And so, I always ask the Mormons, if there's one thing that proves to you the Mormon church is true, could you show me what that is? Because I don't get it. I've never been Mormon, don't get it. So help me out here. I want to find their foundation. So I'm going to give you my secret right now. When I witness the Mormons, that's what I ask. What is the one thing that you are standing on right now, your foundation? I'll say it any different ways. What is it that you're hanging on to that just absolutely tells you the Mormon church is true? I want to know what that is.